Let me tell you something about helping others. It's one of the greatest acts of humanity. Reaching out a hand when someone's in need shows your character, your compassion, your belief in lifting each other up. But, and I say this with all the seriousness it deserves, not everyone deserves your help. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? But I'm not talking about denying help to the needy, the struggling, or the genuinely lost. No, I'm talking about the kind of people who will take that helping hand and drag you down with them. I'm talking about people who don't want help, they just want to use you. So let me lay it out for you, minus 8 types of people you should think twice before helping. First on the list, the perpetual victim. This is the person who is always in some kind of mess, always in crisis mode, but never takes responsibility for their part in it. They thrive on sympathy and attention. These folks are always in crisis mode, always dealing with one disaster after another. And it's never their fault. You know the type. They're always the ones with the problems, always the ones who need your help. But when you try to lend them a hand, they grab your arm, your shoulder, your peace of mind. They take everything they can, but they never get better. Never learn. They get caught in this cycle of chaos and they don't even see it. And the worst part, they thrive on sympathy. They need that attention. It feeds them. They get stuck in that mindset where it's always someone else's fault, always something out of their control. And you can help them once, maybe twice, but when you start to notice that pattern, when you start to realize that no matter how much you do for them, they're never changing, it's time to step back. You're not helping them, you're enabling them. You're just feeding into their dysfunction. It's tough because you want to help. You want to be there for people, especially when they're going through something hard. But you've got to understand something. There's a difference between helping someone and enabling them. Helping is about supporting someone who's willing to put in the effort to change, who's willing to take responsibility for their actions. Enabling is when you give and give, but the person never takes ownership. They just keep coming back for more, and it never stops. Eventually, you've got to recognize that you're not doing them any favors. You're just prolonging their misery. And by doing that, you're sacrificing your own peace of mind. You've got to recognize when to walk away. I'm not saying cut them off completely if they're in trouble, but you have to stop letting them drag you down into their constant drama. You've got to save your energy for people who are trying to get better, who are trying to rise up, who are open to change. Not everybody is going to be in that place at the same time, but you have to know when someone is not ready, and you can't force it. Second, the chronic complainer. You know the type. No matter what happens, it's never enough. You could give them the world and they'd still find something to gripe about. You could move mountains for these people, and they complain that the view isn't perfect. And here's the thing, you try to help them, you try to fix things, but it doesn't matter. It's never good enough. They never appreciate it. And the worst part is that their negativity starts to drain you. It's like a parasite sucking away your energy, making you doubt yourself, making you question your own worth. You start to feel like maybe you're the problem, maybe it's your fault that nothing is ever enough. But it's not you, it's them. When you're around someone who's always complaining, always focusing on what's wrong, it's like you're being dragged into their world of negativity. They don't seek solutions. They don't care about fixing the problem. They just want a platform to air their grievances, to spill their dissatisfaction into your life. They don't want to hear how things can improve, They just want to hear that you're listening to their complaints. But listen to me, that is not a healthy dynamic. You've got to recognize that someone who's constantly dissatisfied is never going to be satisfied with you. They're always going to find something wrong. And you're never going to be able to fix that. Helping someone who is never satisfied is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much you put in, it's never going to stay. It's going to drain out, and you're going to be left with an empty bucket and an empty soul. You can't fill someone else's emptiness if they're not even willing to seal up the holes themselves. So what do? You save your energy. You stop trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. You stop pouring into a situation that's never going to hold. It's hard, I know. You want to help, you want to make things right. But you have to understand that some people are just stuck in that mindset of complaint. They don't want to change, and they don't want to move forward. They just want to keep talking about how bad everything is. And you can't afford to let that take your time, take your spirit. You've got to protect your own peace and keep it moving. And here's the truth, not everyone is going to be open to the solutions you offer. Some people are comfortable in their misery. They like it. It gives them an identity. It gives them something to talk about. They can always blame someone or something else for why they're not where they want to be. But you can't fix that. You can't fix them. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change. So stop wasting your time trying. You've got to ask yourself, am I giving my energy to the right people? Am I spending my time with folks who are actually moving forward? Or am I just feeding into someone else's cycle of chaos or complaint? Time is precious, and you don't get it back. The longer you spend trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed, the less time you have for those who are actually putting in the work, the ones who are actually grateful for your help, the ones who are trying to grow. Don't let your time and your energy go to waste on folks who aren't ready to change. Remember, you've got to protect your peace. You've got to surround yourself with people who are positive, people who are pushing forward, people who are pushing forward, people who are committed to growth. You can't keep letting these perpetual victims and chronic complainers drain you. You can't afford it. It's time to start drawing boundaries, to start setting limits on how much you're going to give, and to start reserving your energy for those who are worthy of it. The people who are open to change, who are willing to put in the work, who are grateful for the help you give. They're out there, and they're waiting for you to recognize them. But you've got to let go of the ones who are stuck in the same old cycle. Stop enabling the perpetual victims. Stop feeding into the chronic complainers. Protect your energy, protect your time, and protect your peace. Third, let's talk about the entitled. Now, these people expect your help. They don't appreciate it. They don't ask for it. They demand it. They walk around with this mindset that the world owes them something, like they're entitled to your time, your help, your energy, and your resources. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, the entitled. These are the folks who don't ask for help, they demand it. They don't even appreciate it when you give it to them. They just expect it. It's like they're doing you a favor by letting you be a part of their lives. Now, I've seen this, and I'm sure you have too. You've got people who roll up and act like they're doing you a favor by simply existing in your space. And then they expect you to jump in and fix their problems without any consideration for what you've got going on. They won't ask, they'll demand. They'll assume you're just supposed to drop everything, give up your time, your effort, your resources, whatever you have, and make sure that their needs are met. They don't even think about the fact that maybe you've got your own things you're trying to handle. No. They think you're just supposed to be there ready and waiting for them. And you know the worst part. When you help these people, when you give and you give and you give, don't expect a thank you. Don't expect any kind of appreciation. Because they don't think they need to thank you. To them, it's not an act of kindness, it's an entitlement. They believe it's their due, like the world owes them something, and you're just part of that bill. They'll take your time, your energy, your resources, and then move on to the next person like it was just something they had a right to. No gratitude, no recognition, and certainly no humility. And when you're done helping, don't expect that thank you. Don't expect that appreciation, because they're not going to give it to you. They don't even know what it means. It's like you never did anything in the first place. They won't recognize your effort. They won't recognize your sacrifice because they don't believe they have to. It was theirs to take, right? They needed it, and you were just the one to give it. This is the real danger of dealing with entitled people. You can spend all your time trying to help them, but in the end, it won't teach them anything. They won't learn humility. They won't learn how to earn their way. They won't learn that the world doesn't owe them a thing. All they'll learn is that people are easy to manipulate. They'll learn that no matter how many times they ask or demand or expect, there will always be someone willing to give. And that's the problem. Because one day you're going to get tired. One day you're going to realize that you've been giving and giving, but it hasn't changed a thing. They're still acting entitled. They're still expecting. And you've wasted all your energy on someone who wasn't willing to learn a damn thing. This is where you've got to draw the line. You've got to start recognizing who's actually grateful for your help and who's just taking advantage of it. Helping people is a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong. It's what we should do for each other. But you've got to recognize when you're no longer helping, when you're just enabling someone's bad behavior, their entitlement, and their arrogance. You've got to recognize when to stop. Because here's the truth, there's only so much of you to go around. Your time, your energy, your effort, they're finite. They're precious. And if you're spending all of that on someone who doesn't appreciate it, someone who thinks they're entitled to it, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You've got to protect your peace. And that means setting boundaries. You've got to stop giving to people who don't appreciate what you're offering. You've got to stop giving to people who think it's their right to take. It's hard, I know. It's hard to say no, especially when you're a person who wants to help. But you've got to start learning to say no to people who aren't willing to learn, to people who think that everything is owed to them. You've got to start saying no to the entitled ones because they will drain you. They will keep taking and never give anything back. And eventually you'll find yourself exhausted, bitter, and resentful. So here's what you need to do. Recognize the entitled ones, see them for who they are, and stop letting them take from you. Stop feeding into that sense of entitlement. Stop enabling their bad behavior. And when you do help, do it because you want to, not because you feel like you have to. Help the people who appreciate you, who understand that help is a gift, not an expectation. Help those who are willing to work for it, those who understand the value of what you're giving, and most importantly, protect your own peace. Don't let the entitled ones wear you down, because in the end, they're not going to appreciate it. and you'll be left feeling drained, angry, and unappreciated. Don't let that happen to you. You've got to learn when to walk away and when to say no. And when you do, you'll be a lot better off for it. The fourth type is the habitual liar. These are the ones who've mastered the art of twisting the truth so often that they can't even recognize honesty when it hits them square in the face. They've gotten so good at it, they start believing their own stories. They come to you with a tale that's so elaborate, so full of emotion, that it pulls on your heartstrings. They know exactly what to say, exactly how to make you feel like you're the one who can help them, the one who can make everything right. They play the game so well that you don't even stop to question what they're saying. And that's where they get you. You see, they know the tricks. They know how to manipulate emotions, how to twist words to fit whatever narrative they're trying to sell. They'll ask for help, and you'll feel bad for them. You'll see their story unfold, and it'll tug at your heart. They know how to play on your empathy, your kindness, your willingness to give. They know how to convince you that their situation is real, that it's urgent, and that you're the only one who can step in and make a difference. And just like that, you're all in. You offer them help. You give them your time, your resources, your energy, because you want to make a difference. You want to help, and you want to believe that they're being truthful. But here's the problem: a habitual liar isn't just someone who tells a white lie now and then. No, they spin stories like it's second nature. They've done it so many times that they've lost sight of the truth. They've gotten so used to living in this web of lies that they can't even remember what the truth looks like. And so when you come in trying to help, you have no idea what's real. You have no idea what parts of the story are actually true and which parts are made up to gain your sympathy, to manipulate you into action. And when you find out the truth, that the story they told you wasn't the full story, that some of it was just a fabrication, a lie designed to get you involved, you feel betrayed. You feel cheated. You feel like you've been used. You invested your time, your energy, your compassion into something that wasn't real. You gave your best, your heart, and you find out that it wasn't even worth the effort. The problem with helping someone who lies like this is that you can't even trust what they're saying. You don't know what's real, what's been twisted, or what's been completely made up. This is dangerous. This is how people get manipulated. This is how you lose your peace, your time, your energy. Because once you've given to someone who's lied to you, once you've put yourself out there, trusted them, you end up questioning everything. You start wondering what else they've lied about, what else they've told you that wasn't true. And before you know it, you're stuck in a situation where you can't even trust your own judgment because it's been clouded by someone else's lies. Helping a liar, especially one who's habitual about it, doesn't just waste your time, it makes you question yourself. It makes you doubt your own ability to read people, to understand situations. Because now when someone else comes to you with a story, you're left wondering if it's real or if you're being played again. That's what the habitual liar does. They leave a trail of doubt, of confusion, of uncertainty in their wake. They make you question your own judgment and your ability to trust the people around you. And when it comes to moving forward, that's a tough place to be. Because you don't know who to believe anymore. You don't know if the next person who asks you for help is telling you the truth, or if they're just another liar in disguise. You've been burned, and now you've got to be careful. You've got to guard yourself, your heart, and your time more closely than ever before. So what do you do when you're dealing with a habitual liar? First and foremost, you've got to recognize them for what they are. You've got to stop making excuses for their behavior. You've got to stop thinking that maybe, just maybe, there's a shred of truth in their story. Because the more you buy into their lies, the more you enable them. The more you give, the more they take. And before you know it, you're deep in their web. And you don't know how to get out. The key here is recognizing the pattern. You've got to look at their behavior over time. A liar doesn't just lie once and move on. They lie consistently over and over again. They twist stories, change details, and always have an excuse for everything. And if you've helped someone who's lied to you before, you've got to ask yourself, do you want to keep enabling this cycle? Do you want to keep investing your time, your heart, into someone who doesn't respect the truth, who doesn't respect you? Because if you don't stop it, if you don't recognize it for what it is, you'll find yourself right back in the same situation. You'll find yourself trying to help someone who doesn't deserve it, someone who will never appreciate it. And when you do that, you're not helping anybody, least of all yourself. You've got to draw that line in the sand and say enough is enough. Stop giving your energy to someone who can't even be honest with you. Stop trying to fix something that isn't broken, because they're not looking for a solution. They're looking for a way to manipulate you. It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's one you've got to face. Because once you've been burned by a liar, you've got to be extra careful going forward. You've got to protect your peace. You've got to protect your time. And you've got to stop enabling people who refuse to live in truth. Recognize the liar for who they are, and don't get caught up in their games. They'll only leave you feeling cheated, betrayed, and drained. And that's something no one deserves. Fifth on this list is the opportunist. The opportunist is a different breed altogether. They're smooth. They know how to talk, how to charm, how to make you feel like you're the one who's been waiting for this moment. They'll make you feel like helping them is the opportunity of a lifetime. Like you're about to be a part of something big, something special. They have a way of making you believe that if you just get on board, if you just lend them your support, you're going to be part of a dream that's bigger than anything you've ever imagined. They paint a picture so grand that you can almost see it happening in front of your eyes. But here's the thing about the opportunists: they talk big, but it's all smoke and mirrors. They don't have any real substance behind those big dreams. It's all fluff. Just words that sound good but don't mean a thing. They're not interested in building something with you. They're just interested in what they can take from you. And they're good at making you feel like you're part of the process, like you're a critical piece of the puzzle. But what they're really doing is using you to further their own agenda. These folks are like leeches. They latch on to you when you're at your best, when you're in a position to help, when you're at your most generous. They drain you, your resources, your time, your energy. They make you feel like they're in it with you, that it's a mutual exchange. But once they've taken what they need, once they've drained you dry, they vanish, they're gone. And you're left standing there wondering what just happened. You're left wondering how you got played, how you let yourself get used, how you gave everything to someone who wasn't in it for the long haul, someone who was just looking for a way to get ahead at your expense. And here's the hard truth: you probably won't see it coming. These people are often so smooth, so persuasive that you'll believe them. They'll make promises and they'll make you feel like they're on your side. They'll tell you all the right things, make you believe that their success is your success, that they're working towards something that's going to benefit you both. But it's all a game. They're playing you. They're using you as a stepping stone. And once they've gotten what they need, they move on to the next target. They have no loyalty, no real connection to you. You're just a means to an end. It's easy to get caught up in their web because they're good at what they do. They know how to make you feel special, like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. But when they disappear, when they're gone without a trace, you're left to pick up the pieces. And by the time you realize you've been played, it's too late. You've already given up your time, your energy, your resources to someone who wasn't ever going to return the favor. The opportunist doesn't care about you. They don't care about your dreams or your goals. They care about their own success. And if that means using you to get there, then that's exactly what they'll do. They'll take everything they can. And once they've gotten what they came for, they'll disappear without a second thought. And you're left with nothing but the realization that you've been taken for a ride. But here's the thing you've got to learn from it. You can't let the opportunist take advantage of you without getting something out of it. You've got to recognize the signs. The moment someone starts talking big but has no real plan, no real substance behind their words, that's when you need to step back. When you start feeling like they're always asking for something but never giving anything in return, that's when you've got to start putting up your guard. You've got to stop seeing the potential in people who only see you as a stepping stone. You've got to stop buying into the big dreams and empty promises. Because the opportunist is out there and they will play you if you let them. They'll make you feel like you're part of something important, but when the time comes for them to move on, they'll be gone and you'll be left wondering how you got played. You can't let that happen. You can't keep investing in people who don't have your best interests at heart. You've got to learn how to spot the opportunist and walk away before they can take everything from you. You've got to protect your time, your energy, and your resources. Because when you give too much to the wrong person, you end up with nothing. And here's another truth you've got to face sometimes. The opportunist isn't just some stranger off the street. Sometimes it's someone you trust, someone you've known for years. And that's the hardest part. It's hard to see the opportunist when they're wrapped in a familiar face. But the signs are there. When someone only reaches out when they need something, when they take but never give, when they make you feel like you're lucky to be a part of their plans but never include you in their success. That's when you've got to recognize them for what they are. It's not about being cynical. It's about being smart. It's about protecting yourself. Don't let the opportunists take advantage of your generosity, your time, your spirit. They'll drain you, use you, and leave you empty. And once they're gone, you'll be left to pick up the pieces, wondering how you didn't see it coming. So watch out for the opportunists. They're slick, they're smooth, and they know how to play the game. But once you recognize the signs, once you see through the smoke and mirrors, you'll be able to protect yourself. You'll be able to stop giving to someone who only sees you as a tool to get what they want. And that's when you'll start winning. Because you'll stop wasting your time on people who don't deserve it. And you'll start investing in those who are in it for the long haul, those who value you, who appreciate what you bring to the table, and who are willing to give just as much as they take. The sixth type is the drama seeker. Oh, I know you've seen these folks. You can spot them from a mile away. They're the ones who always seem to be in the middle of some crisis, some mess, some kind of problem. And I'm not talking about the real struggles, the genuine hardships that life throws our way. No, I'm talking about the ones who can't seem to exist without chaos. If things are calm, if there's peace in the air, They're going to stir up some kind of trouble just to feel alive. They thrive on conflict. They love it. It fuels them. And without it, they'd wither away like a plant that's not getting water. They can't live without the drama. Now, here's where it gets tricky. These folks know exactly how to pull you in. They know how to make you feel like you're the only one who can help, like you're the one who's got the answers to their chaos. They'll tell you their sob story, make you feel sorry for them. And before you know it, you're right there in the middle of their storm. You're trying to help, trying to fix things, trying to bring some peace to their life. But here's the truth: you can't help someone who thrives on drama. You can't calm a storm that they're intentionally creating. The more you try to fix it, the worse it gets. The more you try to intervene, the more they drag you into the chaos. And before long, you're just another character in their never-ending soap opera, a pawn in their game of manipulation. What you've got to understand is that these people don't want peace. They don't want resolution. They don't want to fix their problems. They're not looking for solutions. What they want is attention. They want to be the center of the story. They want you to feel sorry for them, to get emotionally invested in their turmoil. They want you to drop everything you're doing and rush in to save them. And you do. When you step in and try to help, you're not solving anything. You're just feeding the drama, making it bigger and more intense. You're becoming part of the very thing you're trying to get away from. And once you're in it, it's hard to get out. You've got to recognize these people for what they are: drama seekers, attention seekers, manipulators. They'll suck you dry if you let them. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care about your peer. They don't care about your success. They only care about what they can get from you. They only care about how much they can pull you into their world of chaos, how much they can make you a part of their problems. And once you're in it, they'll keep you there. They'll keep feeding you their drama, their stories, their crises. And the more you try to help, the deeper you'll get pulled into their whirlwind. Helping them isn't helping. It's enabling. It's feeding into the very thing that's making their life a never-ending cycle of chaos. And when you finally realize that, when you finally wake up and understand that you're not solving anything, it's already too late. You're too invested. You've already given too much of yourself. And you're left with nothing but a lesson learned the hard way. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be there for people in need. I'm not saying you should never offer help. But you've got to be wise about it. You've got to know when to step back, when to recognize that you're not helping, you're just enabling the problem. You've got to have the strength to say no when you know that your involvement is just going to make things worse. And that takes strength. That takes courage. It takes knowing your limits, knowing what you can handle, and knowing when it's time to walk away. It's not about being cold or uncaring. It's about knowing your worth, knowing that your time is valuable, and knowing that there are people out there who need your help and your attention in ways that actually matter. Don't waste it on someone who's just trying to create a scene. Don't give your energy to someone who's more interested in drama than in real change. Protect yourself, protect your peace. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who can control what you allow into your life. And when you allow the drama seekers in, you're allowing chaos to reign. So keep your distance, keep your peace. And watch how your life changes when you stop letting them drag you into their storms. Number 7, the taker. These are the folks who only come around when they need something. They don't give. They just take. And here's the thing: sometimes they don't do it in an obvious way. They're not the ones who walk up to you with their hand out asking for help every single time. Nah, they're slicker than that. They'll smile at you make you feel like they're your friend, make you think there's a real connection. And when it's your turn, when you need something, they're nowhere to be found. They're good at pretending they care, good at making you feel like they're in it for the long haul, like they're with you through thick and thin. But as soon as the tables turn, they vanish. They disappear faster than you can blink. You see, the taker is a master at taking. They know how to get what they want from you without you even realizing it. They don't offer anything in return. No love, no support, no loyalty. It's always about them, their problems, their needs, their goals. They're always asking for help, asking for a favor, asking for something from you. And when you help them, they're grateful. They'll say all the right things. They'll show you the appreciation you want to see. And for a moment, you think everything is good. But here's the problem. You're doing all the giving, and they're doing all the taking. You're the one putting in the time, the energy, the effort. And when the time comes for them to reciprocate, to return the favor, they're nowhere to be found. They've already moved on to the next person, the next opportunity to take, to drain, to use someone else. Helping a taker leaves you feeling drained, empty. You give and give, but you get nothing in return. And the worst part, you feel like you should have known better. You question why you even bothered. You start to think, did I not see the signs? Was I blind to this person's true intentions? And the truth is, you probably did see the signs. You probably knew deep down that this person was never going to give you what you gave them. But the thing about takers is they're good at pretending. They're good at making you feel like they're there for you, like they're invested in the relationship, like they're actually putting in the effort. But when it's time for them to give back, they'll always find an excuse. They'll always find a reason to be busy, to be unavailable. And that's when you start to realize you've been played. The reality is, real relationships are reciprocal. You've got to give and you've got to receive. That's how it works. It's a balance. It's not all one-sided. But the taker, they don't get that. They don't care about balance. They don't care about fairness. They don't care about giving. They care about what they can get from you, and once they've drained you dry, they'll move on to the next person. It's not malicious, it's just who they are. They take. That's their job. And they don't even see it as a problem. To them, it's just how things are. They've conditioned themselves to believe that everyone around them exists to serve their needs, to help them get ahead. They'll take your time, your energy, your resources, and never once think about how much you've given or what you've lost in the process. Now, you've got to recognize this early. You've got to see these takers for what they are. Because if you don't, if you let them keep taking from you, you're going to be the one who ends up empty. You're going to be the one who looks around and realizes that you've been giving everything and getting nothing in return. You've got to protect your time. You've got to protect your energy. And most importantly, you've got to protect your heart. Because when a taker comes in and drains you, they don't care about what they leave behind. They don't care about the pieces of you that get left behind. They just move on to the next source, the next person they can exploit for what they need. So what do you do about it? Well, first of all, you've got to stop giving without receiving. You've got to stop pouring into someone who's never going to pour into you. You've got to stop enabling the behavior. And you've got to be okay with walking away when you see the signs. If someone only reaches out when they need something, you've got to think twice before you give them any more of your time, your resources, or your love. If it's always about their needs, their problems, their goals, and never about yours, you've got to realize that this is not a relationship. This is an arrangement, and you're the one doing all the giving. You've got to recognize that you deserve better than that. It's not about being selfish. It's not about being cold. It's about self-respect. It's about knowing that you are worth more than being someone else's emotional ATM. You've got to value yourself enough to say, I deserve relationships where there's give and take. I deserve to be surrounded by people who will lift me up just as much as I lift them. And when you start to recognize the takers in your life, when you start to set those boundaries and refuse to give without receiving, you'll see your life change. You'll see your relationships become more meaningful, more fulfilling. You'll stop feeling drained and start feeling energized because you'll be giving to people who are giving back to you. So watch out for the takers. Recognize them early and don't let them drain you. Protect your peace. Protect your heart. And make sure that the people in your life are there to build with you, not just take from you, because you deserve that. You deserve relationships where the love flows both ways. Eighth on the list, the manipulator. These people don't just want your help, they want control. They're not satisfied with you doing something kind for them. No, they want to own you in that moment. They want to twist the situation, make it about them. And before you know it, you're not doing something out of the goodness of your heart anymore. You're doing it because they've manipulated you into it. It's not help anymore, it's obligation. It's not kindness, it's surrender. They know exactly what they're doing. They study you. They know your weaknesses. They know what buttons to push. They can tell when you're vulnerable, when your emotions are ripe for the picking, and that's when they pounce. They'll feed you just enough of a story to get you to empathize, to get you to feel sorry for them. And then before you know it, you're saying yes when you really mean no. You're doing things for them that you wouldn't do for anyone else, all because they know how to make you feel guilty, how to make you feel like it's your responsibility. Now, helping a manipulator isn't like helping someone who's genuinely in need. No, helping a manipulator is like feeding a beast that only grows hungrier. You're not helping them get better. You're feeding their sense of entitlement. The more you give, the more they demand. And the more they get, the more they need. They don't appreciate it. They don't learn from it. They just take. It's never enough for them. And no matter how much you give, they'll always want more. It's never about mutual respect or genuine gratitude. It's about power. It's about control. It's about them bending you to their will. And here's the problem. You think you're being kind. You think you're helping. You think you're doing the right thing by giving, by being generous with your time, your energy, your resources. But all you're really doing is enabling them. You're giving them more power, more control, and less of your peace. You're allowing them to keep you in a state of emotional captivity where you feel like you owe them. You feel like you have to keep giving because they've guilted you into it, because they've made you feel like you're somehow responsible for their situation, their happiness, their success. But you're not. You're not responsible for anyone's happiness but your own. It's easy to fall for it. It's easy to get caught in their web because they know exactly what to say, exactly what to do to make you feel like the bad guy if you don't them. They'll make you feel selfish. They'll make you feel like a horrible person for saying no, even when deep down you know that helping them is going to do more harm than good. You know that helping them isn't going to change anything. It's just going to give them another reason to keep asking, another reason to keep manipulating, another reason to keep draining you. So you give in. You say yes, you help them, and in the end you're left feeling empty, feeling used, feeling like you just lost a part of yourself. That's the thing about manipulators. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about what you're sacrificing. All they care about is what they can get from you. It's never about you. It's always about them. And they'll do whatever it takes to make sure you're in a position where you can't say no. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't help people. I'm not saying you shouldn't be generous. What I am saying is that you've got to be careful who you give your energy to. You've got to be careful about who you let into your life. Not everyone who asks for help is doing it for the right reasons. Some people just want to take. Some people just want to use you to control you, to manipulate you into giving them what they want. And you have to be strong enough to say no. You have to be strong enough to set boundaries and stand by them, even if they guilt trip you, even if they make you feel like the bad guy. Helping a manipulator isn't kindness. It's not generosity. It's surrender. You're surrendering your peace, your time, your energy, your self-respect. And that's something you can't afford to give away. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect your energy. Because the truth is, the more you give, the more they take. And the more they take, the less you have left for yourself. So, stop dancing to their tune. Stop giving them the power to control you. Stop letting them make you feel like you're responsible for their happiness, their success, their well-being. You're not. You've got enough on your plate trying to take care of your own life. You've got your own dreams, your own goals, your own problems to deal with. And you don't need anyone trying to manipulate you into giving them what's rightfully yours. At the end of the day, it's all about boundaries. It's about knowing where to draw the line and knowing when to walk away. It's about recognizing that just because someone needs help doesn't mean they have the right to manipulate you into giving it. And it's about knowing that the most important person you need to take care of is yourself. Don't let anyone guilt trip you. Don't let anyone twist your kindness into an obligation. You've got to say no when it's necessary. You've got to stand firm in your boundaries, because when you let a manipulator in, you're just giving them the power to keep taking from you until there's nothing left. And you deserve better than that. You deserve relationships where there's mutual respect, where your kindness isn't weaponized, where you're not made to feel guilty for choosing yourself. Protect your peace. Protect your heart. Don't let anyone manipulate you into losing them. Now, let me clear, helping others is a beautiful thing. It's what makes us human. But discernment is key. You need to know when your help is genuine, when it's truly needed, and when it's being taken for granted. Because if you don't, you'll find yourself depleted, used up, and bitter. And that's not where you want to be. So when you think about helping someone, pause and ask yourself, are they the type of person who wants to grow, to improve, to reciprocate? Or are they one of these 8 types? Because helping the right people enriches your soul, but helping the wrong ones drains it. And you, my friends, deserve to walk through life with your energy intact, your spirit uplifted, and your kindness reciprocated. Choose wisely who you give your time, your help, and your heart to. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. And once you know that, you'll not only be a better helper, you'll be a stronger, wiser, and happier person.